have spent 4 days on the Sim Racing Expo gathering as much information as I can, and I have to say, the future never looked brighter, and with sim racing users and racing lovers have never been in better place as customers. I never missed Expo from the first edition, and I saw companies growing up enormously and others being wiped completely from the competition. But this year, new huge players arrive and give slaps to everyone out there, particularly to Fanatec, with their own strategy. Asetek built that huge space with a podium, big screens, and exposed all the new products from their new line of DD bases, steering wheels, hydraulic pedals, and brakes, and many rigs to test. Of course, with scanning barcodes to make sure we join the website and later be bombarded from the algorithm, and every single one from the team acted like part of the big kingdom. I have to tell you, from psychological point of view, those guys were very well prepared and they looked ready for war. I read Fanatec make 3-digit number in millions from sales, and they keep 80% of the sim racing market, and I feel Asetek don't want just piece of that market, they go for the top. Logitech, the multi-billion world company, make that weak attempt to stay in the field with that 1.1K direct drive base, and I have to admit, the force feedback felt good, the texture of the road, it was responsive, but that's it. The entire Pro setup doesn't feel like a premium product for that premium price, and almost 400 for the pedals. Seriously? Come on, guys. In competition to the existing market, the price of the package is worst value ever. If I was owner of that company and see how my sim racing department represent me on the field against my competition, I was going to fire them all. But maybe for those big companies, everything is profit. Again, I love the force feedback, and if that costed 2/3 of the price, I was going to love it. But in that price, I'm not impressed at all. Now, the most important part, let me share my experience with Asetek. The base I've tested was limited to single settings, and we were not allowed to tweak them at all. The torque was okay, and probably in the range I used to race long races on my Simucube 2 Pro, so I wanted to find if that really is a copy of the legendary Granity device line, and the first impressions are good. It was snappy and has really good details from the texture of the road, and in general my first impressions were really good, but a friend of mine tested different unit and he told me he felt low knocks in direction changes, so I don't know if that is the particular unit or some different settings. I didn't have time to wait and test that same unit, as honestly Asetek wasn't my personal priority in that expo, but I start with this topic for a reason. One thing that surprised me a bit was the pedals. I had a bit low expectations because I really don't like short travel super stiff pedals, as that doesn't fit in my driving style, but they felt good. I will still prefer different settings for my personal driving style, but it was a pleasant surprise. They also had that prototype with the entire ABS system, which we were able to test only by hands, and it feels like gonna be interesting unit, but nothing to do with the Simucube Active pedals. Those are really cutting edge technology, and for me personally was the most exciting part of that expo, and I will have dedicated video for them very soon. Wheels. The aesthetics are up to you. If you like the look or not is subjective matter, and I personally want to share the ergonomics point of view. The handles are silicone rubber with anatomic touch and felt sweet in hands. Got access to many buttons with the thumb without removing hands from the grip, which felt clicky, and plastic knobs for the rotaries and the 7-way funky switches, which felt okay in rotation, some backlit labels for the buttons, backlit middle rotaries, lev lights, magnetic shifters, and that QR system which looks like the Simucube 2 but with this plate which make it easy to remove. I don't know how will last in long-term use, but I didn't feel any flex at all. This is not some super premium wheel, and for the existing market, in my opinion, is priced okay, but for sure it can be compared to the Asher new line, Cube Controls, SimCORE, or the new wheels from the Bavarian guys. Of course, totally different price, and when I have those in my hands I can instantly see the difference, but here comes the first big slap for Fanatec. While I was testing all those beautiful top-end wheels for which I will have dedicated videos, in every stand I saw a guy from Asetek discussing about the adapters which will make every steering wheel compatible with the Asetek direct drive wheelbases. At the first moment we can think how confident are those guys and how awesome it is to think for everyone out there, and at the end of the day it really is. Will be good for us and will be good for all those small producers of beautiful wheels, but do you know what I personally also see? Very clever strategy to take the king down. From marketing point of view, collaboration with every wheel producer out there, in any page we go, will be compatible with Asetek. I really enjoy watching and analyzing human behavior, and last year I was watching Thomas giving interviews and interacting with people, and I had seen him before in the previous 3 or 4 Expo editions, so I had something to compare, and the aura around him last year was like he's untouchable. They had probably the best year of sales in the entire history of Fanatec through the pandemic, and they come with 2 new beautiful products, and I feel they mainly invested in marketing. You know, I remember once I was trying to take a shot from a wheel from different brand on my cockpit, and it was really hard to find good spot on the track without Fanatec being displayed around. Also, just typing on the Google search engine Sim Racing, the first results were always Fanatec. That must have been millions and millions of dollars investment in marketing. This year, watching Thomas' behavior, it felt like he feels the pressure bank on the shadow of that big commercial stunt of Asetek, and he looked sharp, and while chatting with different people, his eyes were constantly investigating around, and I personally really enjoy that swap. Not because it hurts and not because I have some crazy problems with that company. I actually respect a lot the guy. Every person I have ever talked who was close to him have nothing but respect. And he must be much bigger enthusiast for the sim racing world than most of us. And that is a swap he really needed at this point in time. Asetek are coming strong, and from what I see and read, they are giving it all to reach the top of the mass production, and their products looks very competitive on the market. In my opinion, they came with too much confidence, and there will be mistakes, and I'm curious to see how will they deal with those mistakes, because we, the sim racing enthusiasts, are very difficult customers and very unforgiving. Asetek set for themselves very high standards with big promises, and now have to meet those high expectations. That is very dangerous place to be, and I hope they don't take us as naive boys. Most of the sim racing community members are for very long time around, and we don't buy stories like those pedals will make us faster, because they work like in our GT real racing car. Commercials like those will make them look only bad. Hope they will make good, reliable products with good customer services and have fair fight with the other multi-million worth indoor company for which is time to wake up from that lethargy. I'm telling you guys, the fight between those huge brands will bring amazing results for us. I can't wait to share with you my experience with some awesome tech from Simucube with their new active pedals, Sim with some new equipment, Asher Cube Control, SimCORE, and the Bavarian team with their crazy wheels in the next few videos. And honestly, our sim racing world is going in the next level. I also want to say thank you to everyone who said hello in those 4 beautiful days, and I have to say, it was real pleasure to meet some of you in person, and thank you for the gifts. I love you guys. You keep my passion so high.